One of the most important roles in first impressions is perhaps one that isn't immediately thought of when someone thinks about the first impressions team. That role is communion setup, cleanup, and preparation. LifeSpring is a church that does weekly communion, which means communion needs to be set up for each and every service. This role is the role that requires an individual on the First Impressions team to be here the earliest. We recommend that you arrive about 45 minutes prior to the start of service. This is so that you can set up the communion and have it set out at least 15 minutes prior to service's start. You'll be able to do all the setup needed here in the kitchen. You'll find the communion cart as well as any materials you may need for communion located in this cupboard next to the mailboxes at the end of the kitchen. In the cupboard you'll find cups, you'll find communion crackers, a funnel for use in pouring, as well as juice. You may also find the juice if there are open containers in the black refrigerator at the other end of the kitchen. You can find the trays located here on the cart. If you need instructions for how many trays that should be prepared, please look in the First Impressions mailbox for the most recent sheet with information on those numbers. To prepare the communion, fill each of the slots on the trays. These trays will be set up at the end of each row in the auditorium space, along with the Bibles and tissue boxes located there, as well as a tray in the conference room table and several back in the children's area for the children's workers. To fill these trays, you should take the individual cups and fill each slot with a cup. After you've done so, you should input a single communion cracker into each of these cups, followed by a second cup placed on top, pinching the cracker between the first and second cup. Once a cup's been added to each, you can use one of these funnels, which has a release on top, to fill each cup with grape juice. When filling these cups with grape juice, we recommend that you fill them approximately half to 2/3 full. There's no need to fill them any further for the purposes of communion, and doing so can cause for messes and difficulty in transporting the communion trays. Please remember that after services are complete, part of the responsibility of the person filling the role of communion setup is also cleanup, making sure that each tray is collected, and that if it is between the first and second service on Sunday, that those trays are replenished and reset before the next service. If it is after the services on Sunday 2nd, please make sure that those trays are cleaned and properly put away. If you have any questions as to how to perform the duties for communion setup, or any other questions that may pertain to communion, please contact either myself, Jerry, Mike Rutger, or another member of the First Impressions team or ministry staff. Thank you guys.